Their mind cannot change anything. There come a time when you have to stop, look, and listen. And if what you hear is not encouraging, if what you hear does not build you up, if what you hear does not cause you to be grateful, then maybe it's time to stop and turn around and make a U-turn, recalibrating, turn around and look for Jesus, because without you making that change, you may be walking one way. Well, life offers more than one way. Life offers choices. And if you're really tired of the way that you are going, if you're tired of making the same mistake, if you're tired of doing the same thing over and over, if you're tired of just walking and not getting anywhere. You know, when I was a kid in Chicago, I knew that there was something wrong, because I was wake up and I'd get up, and this was in my sleep, dreams I had. I was walking, and it seems like everybody was just walking normal and just passing me up. It seems like my feet were stuck in the mud, and I had to really, really try very, very hard to pull my feet up out of the mud and keep pace with everybody else. Sometimes the enemy will make you feel just like that, make you feel that you're bogged down, and you keep asking yourself, what's wrong with me? Maybe it's not so much you. Maybe it's the way you're thinking. Maybe it's what you think and feel about yourself. It comes a time that everything must change. The seasons change. Winter goes away and ushers in the springtime and the summer and autumn. And then it's winter again. The seasons change. And so must we, my brothers and sisters. They always say time changes things, but you actually have to change them yourself. Yes. So you can change your world by changing your words. Remember, death and life are in the power of the tongue. I am two of the most powerful words, for what you put after them shapes your reality, my brothers and sisters. Think positive, and remember, there's a way out of your mess, and it's JESUS.
Where can you buy a brand new Nissan with a lifetime warranty? Kingston Pike. Hey folks, Gerald Anderson with Ted Russell Nissan. You heard it right. Every new Ted Russell Nissan comes with a lifetime warranty, and that's a long, long time. Ted Russell Nissan on Kingston Pike.
Good morning and welcome to AM 1380 WYSH and Ask Your Neighbor. Ask Your Neighbor can also be heard and seen on our website, WYSHradio.com. And if you are in Anderson, Roane, or Morgan County and have Comcast cable, you can watch Ask Your Neighbor on BBB TV Channel 12. Ask Your Neighbor is the program where you call in and do just that. Ask Your Neighbor. Do you have a comment? Do you have a problem? Or do you have a question? Then call in and ask your neighbor. 865-457-1380 or toll free at 877-711-4005. And for those of you that might be listening or watching on the internet, you can email from our website, WYSHradio.com. Just click on the Contact Us button and email your questions. Now sit back and listen as listeners throughout East Tennessee and the entire world answer your questions on Ask Your Neighbor on BBB TV 12 and AM 1380 WYSH.
All right, boys and girls and moms and dads, good morning and welcome into yet another Thursday. The boys are back in town. David and Howard are with us. Sammy says he's somewhere between here and Fountain City on the way. He should be ambling in any time now in the next 10 minutes or so. How you doing, fellers?
We're doing good.
Good.
We're here.
We're all just talking. None of the three of us watched the award show last night.
Barney's going to have to burn that midnight oil where he can get up in the morning.
Get up and get going?
Yeah.
Now, he said he's had an appointment.
Okay.
He was.
He making money then.
Yeah, maybe that's what it was. I believe so.
Not getting up early, he may just be getting in.
He may just be finishing up, right?
That's true.
What's been going on this week, fellas?
Oh, well, we've had a pretty good week. We've done a lot of different things. We've got some remodeling going on, and we got that side of it that doing some remodeling, putting in more drums and stuff. You got to get over and see it for long. Doug's got a car where if somebody needs a car, it's a little Toyota.
Mm-hmm.
I had Mike, my mechanic, check it out, and he said it oils up, antifreeze, everything. Said it drove out good. It's today's special. It's a blue light now.
Blue light special.
$9.95.
$9.95.
I don't know what model it is. He didn't tell me, but it's probably gone today. I just wrote it on the windshield, and I'm sure it's the best I can get from it.
It'll be gone soon. Okay. Well, if not, it will be now.
It's Doug's. He's got title and everything for it.
Okay.
That's what he says. But yeah, we got a lot of things. We've been doing a lot of remodeling and building. And Donald Butler Brothers have been building some houses. And then after our church, we're going to have a big Thanksgiving giveaway.
Okay.
And boy, they do. It's a job. We built a big building out there, a great big metal building. It's insulated and everything, and you can drive in one end. This thing's so big, you can drive in one end, drive through it, and get your boxes and stuff in there.
Drive out the other.
Drive on out the other way, and they'll be backed up down Mahaffey Road. Probably.
Oh my!
So anybody needing a Thanksgiving box or Christmas box, whatever you call it, and they're gonna be giving that away. And I mean, they get the stuff because these big companies gives them hundreds of turkeys and all kinds of stuff. They said, well, we ain't got no place to put them. They just give them some beef for you.
What church is it, David?
Huh?
What church? So people.
Church of God, Claxton Church of God.
Okay.
It's on Mahaffey Road, just like you go inside of it, it'll turn that first road there on your right.
Mm-hmm.
After it used to be a pawn shop, it's something else now. Turn right there, and it's one block after you can see it from the highway.
Yeah.
And
when they doing that?
We got a new church, a new building. I forgot they're getting it ready this week, so I guess
it'd be
weekend.
Yeah, Thanksgiving's Thursday. Thanksgiving's a week from today, so probably this weekend.
They're working on it last night. So
okay.
This weekend.
Okay.
Look on the internet; they'll be advertising it probably. Or
okie doke.
Call over and they'll tell you. But anyhow, they do a lot for a lot of people. They really help. They got the food and stuff with their hand to get out, and they build it with good intentions. I mean, we built it with good intentions because we're going to do some good things in there, like have they got the big basketball things,
mm-hmm.
and like different churches come in if somebody needs help, or they'll play ball and charge so much for the ball game and help them, or the two churches divided up,
sure.
help themselves for their kids and things. And there are a lot of good things going on for it,
Yeah.
And but yesterday, Steve called me and said two of them donkeys is out. Them
Uh-oh.
Donkeys.
Uh-oh.
They pushed the gate open somewhere and got out. Got them away through. And he was in tears almost. He said, "We're going to get somebody." I said, "Well, I can't. I wasn't even there."
Yeah.
So I made some phone calls, and I called him. He said, "Oh, I got them in. I got light bread." Showed them they're just pets.
Yeah.
And they come to him, went right in. I said, "Don't call nobody. Call everybody. Cancel them."
Do they get out often?
Huh?
Do they get out often?
No, they never get out.
Okay.
I fixed the gate. What it was, I fixed the gate, a little gate where we could walk through.
Uh-huh.
Just barely this wide. And they walked up in there and started hitting, and they knocked the chain off with their nose, I guess. And then they was so big they could push that feeder over just a little bit, and they just went through there. And
they're pretty smart.
Rows of hay on the other side, and of course they got plenty of grass. And they just I've had them before. I've had them get out. Normally, when they get out like that, where they're pets and they've been running, they'll just hang right around there.
Sure.
And if they don't, why? You get there with some corn, you shake it or something, they'll come to you. And we got gates everywhere, so open the gate and they'll run right back in.
How many you have now?
We just got 3 now. We had a bunch of them. We give a bunch of them away, but I think we give away 5 last year, maybe.
Good Lord.
I just cut them down.
Yeah.
They got the cross on their back.
Mm-hmm.
From Jerusalem.
Yep.
And Jeff Miller, his wife was a big thing up there at UT, and they brought them over here from the Holy Land, and the university did, and they give them to them. And then I got a couple from him, and we started raising donkeys. And well, we've had a bunch of them. Looks like we're going to have 2 more this year. And then, and then we won't have nothing for donkeys then.
And then you're out of the donkey business,
I have 3 girl donkeys, so we don't need no more boy donkeys. That's something else. Oh, they'll just walk up and eat out of your hand or anything. That baby, just because it was born, most usually babies are scared of you.
Yeah.
But this wouldn't. He just walk up straight up to you.
Really?
Steve, he loves donkeys. He gets out there and puts his arm around her neck, and they're just pets. We just go out there and holler, and they'll come right up the gates.
Yeah, they did when Trace and I were out there.
I got
they
a sign
came
up
up to
at
us.
Jerusalem donkeys from Holy Land. No.
Yeah.
We got a lot of things over. It came from a lot of places. We got 2 magnolia trees. It came from White House.
Yeah.
And I got the sign up. A lot of people don't know it, but that road back there is Old Dixie Highway. It was the first road from Florida to Canada.
All the way.
And that was a part of it. See, when my daddy said he moved there, and when he was 12-year-old, he was born in 1901, and you'd only see 2 cars maybe a week come through there. It was all horse and buggies and wagons, and the way he said the way they had it set up, each county done a gravel road on their part, all the way from Florida to Canada, but it'd have big mud holes in it, and you'd have to get a team of mules pull a car out to even travel it. And to even travel it,
can't hear you good that far back.
Okay, after that, while they started graveling it, and I believe it's 1918, the government took it over.
Yeah.
And they give each state a grant to do their part. And then they started concreting it, and they concreted this road from Florida to Canada. Now, there's still parts of it over in there. You can see parts of it. Clinton Highway, and that was part of it.
That's amazing.
It went all the way to Dixie Lee Junction, where it come in from the Nashville way. And that's the reason they named it Dixie Lee Junction, because Dixie Lee.
Dixie Lee Highway, the junction, yeah.
That's the reason they named it Dixie Lee Junction. And it's interesting.
It is very interesting.
I like a lot of it. I like a lot of history.
Well, sure.
Yeah, I mean, to get on something that was built, and see, no telling when that was built. My daddy was 12-year-old.
Yeah.
And it was a main road then for horses and wagons and stuff.
Yeah.
You had to travel that.
When did they concrete it? When did they concrete it?
They started concreting it, I believe, in 1918. They took it over. That's when the government took it over as they're going to make a government road out of it.
Yeah.
And then they started paying a grant to each state you could build your part.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good system, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's really good system.
Every state that was involved in, back in them days, see, they had people that understood people.
Yeah.
To make money and make things happen. And my daddy told me the old bridge for the old concrete, he worked on that one.
Yeah.
See, before they done the 4-lane over at the Bull Run Bridge, that old one, he said he worked on it. And he's telling them how it operated. I mean, everybody had jobs. They just put you to work back in.
Sure.
1918, I mean, he said you could get a job doing anything like that. He's telling me about when they cut through the mountain over at that Ford place, that gap there to make the Clinton Highway go all the way through. He said that was a big mountain right through there, and they cut all that out. And they cut it out with horses.
Really?
They cut out with horses, and that was part of it,
You talking about right there at the 75-40, where all that?
Yeah, where you go all through the big, all that there.
Yeah.
They cut through that, these Fresnos, and things that, you saw them, ain't you?
Yeah, I know.
I got 2 of them over, and you hook them. It's not really a Fresno, it's called something else, because I showed it to John Rice one day. Fresno was the name of one of the companies that made them, and I guess they sold a lot of them.
Yeah.
And I thought it was always Fresno, and I told him about it, how they dug it through there and that, and he said, I'm going to study on that and look that up. So I'm going to get the history on that. And he called me back and said, David, you know, I talked.
Mm-hmm.
I got your history now. He said that they wouldn't call Fresnos. A lot of people call them pond scoops or light road graders.
Pond scoops, yeah.
But he said Fresno was a company that made it. Said there's some other companies made them, but Fresno was a big one, maybe the one that started it or something.
Good Lord.
And see, it took a big, stout man to hold them two handles. You get about, 3 wheelbar load in that thing.
Yeah.
If you're stout enough to do it.
If you're stout enough to hold it down and dig it out.
Right, or they just dump it on you.
Yeah.
You had to hold that thing down so it'd get in that dirt, and then you couldn't go too deep because he couldn't pull it. And it's an art to it. Boy, it's something, wasn't it?
It is.
It's
Lord
really
have mercy.
art, how you hold that.
So down at the junction, that's where it split too. Going to Chattanooga or going to Nashville.
Yeah.
Right there on the old highways
Yeah.
before they built the interstate.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
man.
well, both of them all the way to Nashville and all the way to Chattanooga.
Just amazing how they got things done. Team of horses and
I mean, just think about that.
cut a mountain down.
Think about coming from Florida to Georgia on that rock load on a buggy or a horse. I mean,
Yeah.
Stop off and cook and stay all night, and they'd have food and stuff to bring with you because
It wasn't much along the
there were
way.
no stores, and then maybe just ever so many miles, or
Yeah.
I have to go whole town.
It's amazing.
You know, I was listening to Luke knew a fella that knew Pistol Pete real well,
Mm-hmm.
and I've got the see. I got it on a cassette. I'm gonna try to get it put on a CD. Boy, it is something to listen to. He was a marshal too, U.S. Marshal, I think. I believe Pistol Pete was. He's talking about meeting White Earp and all of them, and he was going to help him on one thing, and he said, "I don't need you." He said, "I can handle it." They said they interviewed him right before he died, and this was an interview, and Luke knew the guy that interviewed him. He was one of Luke's friends, and he gave me a copy of this. Buddy, you talk about something interesting to listen to.
Really?
And asked him, said, asked him, did he ever meet White Earp? Oh, yeah. He said, I met him and told what town it was. That somebody had a town locked down. Said they had an ordinance. You had to give your gun in, turn your gun in, and he just turned his in. White Earp did too. He's a marshal, you know.
Yeah.
And said, they asked him, said, well, what did he do? He said, they found out he was there, and he said, so-and-so, I forget which one it was, had the town locked down. And he said, we got the sheriff's out of town, and we ain't got nobody to... He just took over. And he said, well, give me a gun. They said, you got a gun? He said, no, they made me turn it in then to ordinance down first, when he first come to town. Said, I didn't want to tell him who it was and argue with him. I just give him a gun. And he said, give me a gun, holster and stuff, so I'll go take him down for you and bring him in. And this is Pistol Pete telling this story, you know. Said, I was out there with him in that same town. Said, we kind of rode in together and on the end there.
Yeah.
Said he took that gun out and said he twirled it and he went all around it, put it in his holster, and he went there and told that guy, said, come on in, give yourself up now. Said, I'll put you in jail and they'll work it out with you. He said, and he said, I'm not coming in. He said, yeah, one way or the other, you're going to come in. And he said, you know, he walked right straight at that guy. The guy had a gun aimed at him. He said, boy, he wasn't afraid of nothing. And said he was greased lightning with a gun. That's what Pete said. He said, now I know you can shoot me, but I'm going to kill you too. He said, he wasn't afraid of death. He said, you can shoot me, but you're going to die with it. If you want to die, go ahead and pull the trigger. I'll shoot you. He said, that guy laid his gun down when he took him in.
Smart man. Smart man.
He said, I asked him when he started, you want me to go help? He said, no, it's just a one-man job. And said he come back in, throwed his gun over, and he said, could we hire you for a sheriff right now? He said, you couldn't give me this job. I just helped you out, so I'm headed somewhere else. But back in, it was horses, you know. He's telling about how they slept on the ground. And, oh, man, that is a beautiful... I'm going to try to get put on a CD so it won't break or something.
Yeah.
I got it on cassette. I got it on my desk now because I got a guy making CDs for me. I want to see if he'll make me some copy.
That'd be something to keep.
But it's, you know, that is really
It's history. Yeah.
I love them good stories like that. It's true that people can tell you
Yeah.
things that really happened. My daddy, you know, he could tell me a lot that things that he did when he was a boy, you just couldn't believe. He didn't have a car. There were no cars. He said in his court, my mama, or when he first got up, and started, he was always a horseback. He'd have to ride a horseback. And then so he finally got a T-model. And, it was had the gas tank at the bottom. If you go up a hill and you didn't have a full tank of gas,
you couldn't make it.
I said, what would you do? He said, turn around and back up.
Back up the hill.
Back all the way up the hill. And he turned one over on the Old Clinton Highway, which rolled off. He showed me where it rolled over. It was a rag top, like they had him back in. Said, I turned that thing over and said, tore that top from off like killed and stove him up. He said his arm swelled up so bad they had to cut his shirt sleeve off him. He landed on his arm. We got the Law and Order just walked in.
I heard you talk about somebody that's good with a gun. Was you talking about me?
Yeah,
he was.
25 and wide
You said I had laying in bed. Buddy, I did a radio show this morning at 7 o'clock. I did them early morning shows this morning, they called. So.
Hey, you at the Caswalker, was he there?
No, but I got a great Caswalker story to tell.
Uh-oh.
There's a guy that listens every week. He says he watches you on TV, too. I said, you see Howard and David. So if you're listening, Dan, I'm going to try to tell this story. And I've told him, I said, you go or you call in and tell it. He wouldn't
do it, huh?
No, but he said he used to work the Caswalker store over on Bearden Hill. There used to be one over on Bearden Hill, and apparently there was a strip mall or some other stores or something with Dan's. Now, Dan, if I'm telling it wrong, you'll have to call in. But he apparently worked at one of the other stores there in the shopping center. And so one day he was on break, and he thought he'd go over to the drink machine at Caswalker's and go over there for a little bit. And while he was standing there at the drink machine, apparently Kaz walked by and asked him, said, what are you doing? He said, well, I'm on break. And said that, well, what do you do here? Or what do you do? And he said, he told him he stocked shelves or whatever he did, his job. And he said, well, we don't need you no more. And he said, and he went into the office and come back out with some money and asked him how much he made. And he told him. Apparently he come back out there with some money, like a severance pay, and fired him. I mean, didn't need him anymore. And he said he got fired and didn't even work there.
You got money on top of it.
I said, well, you're in good class. You're in good company right there, because he fired the Everly brothers too. So it's all right.
As bad as they got Swift and Company, up there, and this is on at lunch break, and there wasn't nobody working right then, but the janitors and stuff, because everybody's gone out and just can't clean up the offices, and this girl, she walked in there and just tried to get a job. She said, I need somebody that could help you. And said, yeah, I'm trying to find somebody about getting a job here. And that guy, she looked real pretty, and he said, well, just come on to my office. Sure, there wasn't nobody in there. Come to the office, and he was telling her about it and going to take a job, and said he stood up. They standing there hugging and kissing, and said the boss walked in and said, what's going on here? And throwed them both out. Well, said she was going down a flight of steps, and when she did, said there's a man walking up the street, and he was looking at all the name of the building. He said, is this Swift and Company? She said, it must be. I've been hired and kids and fired all the same day.
That's a good one. That's good. It's like Dun and Bradstreet joke. You remember that one? Yeah. You remember it? I don't remember it either. I butchered it. It's a good joke. Oh, it's that one about the, I don't, that one that his name was John.
Yeah, tell it.
Went to New York. Do you remember that? And
I remember went that John Hitch told it.
The old John Hitch told it, and I'll butcher it up here. I'll do a terrible job. But he's looking for, he needed to go to the bathroom when this place is Dun and Bradstreet, and thought that guy he was looking for was John Dunn was who he's looking for. And he went in there and he said, is John here? And he said, yes, right down in the hallway. And somebody, he went in there, what was he said? He went in there and says, are you done? I don't know.
He said just about or something.
Yeah, I can't remember. John Hitch, that was one of his favorites.
That's one Zane Daniels told that. He said this guy told him, said he went into.
No, he said to call your mama. That's what it was.
Yeah.
He said to call your mama. When you get up there and he says, is this John? And he said, are you done? He said, yeah. He said, call your mama.
Call your mama.
Oh, I forgot.
Yeah, you see him up there while you're up there. Yeah, it's
great. What was the other Zane told us?
Zane Daniels said that this guy went in the bathroom and said he went to use the bathroom and said, there wasn't no paper in the bathroom, and said, he didn't know what to do, so he stuck his hand on that booth and said, buddy, would you hand me some paper over here? And said, that guy said, there ain't none over here either. I'm just sitting here waiting on something. So he took a $5 bill out of his billfold, stuck it there, and said, you got 5 ones for a $5.
That's good. You got to improvise. That's pretty good. So none of you watched the award show last night?
No, we didn't.
I didn't either.
I went to sleep. I thought Harry was going to watch him tell me all that.
Dawn was in there watching. My wife, she's in there watching it. And she come in there, and I was sitting there listening to the Yesterday Wine from 1981 with George and Merle. I was listening to real country music, by the way. So, no, it's good. She come in there. But they were some good ones, she said. They did some good stuff there. So we'll see.
They usually do. They usually have some good collaborations. I mean, the Jelly Roll Lanier Wilson duet that came out last year is still on the charts right now.
Well, my guy just came off the road with Laney Wilson. Last week was his last opening for her. And
Zach.
Yeah, he was up for new artist. He didn't win, but I'm gonna tell you something. He's top shelf. You boys would like him. He's good. He's got a bluegrass background, and he's doing great. And got some good songs out, selling out everything. He's already through, I think, April. He's already got his schedule out for next year, and he's going to be opening for Alan Jackson a little bit. But his own tour is already sold out, and they're having to book second shows. And the closest he's coming around here will be Chattanooga and Nashville, but they're sold out, and they had to add another date, and they sold out just as soon as they did it. He's real deal. He's good picker, really good guitar picker.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's really good.
Yeah,
What's
so
so good in that turn now?
Ron, I was surprised at the Entertainer of the Year they picked, but I guess he's okay.
I've got my opinion. I'll leave it over here because I know Morgan. Okay. It's everybody's cup of tea. I mean, heck, it's to each his own. It's not my cup of tea, but he's certainly filling stadiums, and
that's what makes it.
Well, I guess you don't have to be able to really pick and carry a tune.
Yeah.
Ernest Tubb proved that. No, I'm just kidding. Porter Wagner proved that too.
Yeah.
And some people I'd want to smack, but they say Johnny Cash couldn't really sing.
No.
You know, that's one guy that started out hot and died, and he's still as hot as he was the day he started.
Who's that, Johnny?
Johnny Cash.
Yeah, was it?
I mean,
his persona, when you think his persona was what really helped him.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Everybody brought him good songs.
Oh, yeah.
The Boy Named Sue, One Piece at a Time, and Cadillac. And
yep.
I mean, think of the things. And then he come out that thing, Why Me, Lord?
Oh, yeah.
Man, that was big. So.
Well, they have, the person that they try to take on these personas or these personality stuff. Nowadays, those guys were really what you'd classify as, I guess, outlaws or whatever. They
were the real deal.
Yeah.
Well, he had that style.
His style, he never changed it.
As soon as you hear it, you knew who it was.
Oh, yeah.
And,
Well, so. He told you who it was. Hello, I'm Johnny Cash. He told you right off the bat.
Just in case you didn't know.
When Luther opened that first time he hit that guitar, you know it's Johnny Cash.
Knew Luther was on the...
I only got to see him one time in person. Did y'all get to see him?
No, I never did see him in person.
I was in Gray, Tennessee. My buddy, back in 1986, I went up there. I think I told that story too, but he landed on a helicopter. Him and June come in on a helicopter. It was a big outdoor fair in Gray, Tennessee, and done a great show. But yeah, it was thrilled just to say I got to see him. But now, my buddy of mine got to go back and meet him 2 or 3 times, and I miss Larry. He passed away last year, but he had some great. He actually went up there to the Carter Fold a few years ago. I've got it on a VHS tape. It's really good, but they filmed it. But at the Carter Fold, he had John and June Carter, June Cash,
yeah.
And then they had Willie and Waylon and Jesse Coulter there, and a great show. And it was up at the Carter Fold, and he went, and of course he met Johnny several times, and he'd run into people all the time up there in the hills of Southwest Virginia. He was at a church one day, and he sent me a picture, and it was him and Tom T. Hall.
You never know who he's going to be.
Tom T. Hall just showed up at their church there one day, and I loved it.
Well, he was a writer, wasn't he?
Oh, my goodness. My my favorite Tom T. Hall song would probably have to be That's How I Got to Memphis.
I like the one, Homecoming.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
He's got a bunch of good ones.
Hadboy worked for me. He and his wife both worked for me. Candy Bryant, she's a professor up at up at ETSU now. She teaches radio up there. She taught broadcasting at Oak Ridge High School. And her husband, his name was Tom Bryant. Well, he worked for Tom T. Hall. He was T. Tom, and Tom was Tom T. He worked for him throughout his this was in the 90s, so he wasn't, at that time, he wasn't working for him, but he'd worked for him all through the 70s and 80s. So he was T. Tom, and Tom was Tom T. That's how they... T. Tom, Tom T.
They ever say how he was to work with?
He said he was cantankerous a lot to other people, but he and those two got along. They drank a lot together, evidently.
Yeah. He had some great songs. I loved his style. The one thing I always was intrigued by Tom T. Hall was how he played his guitar. He didn't hold it like everybody else. His right hand, if you ever watch him picking, he picked from like this. It looked so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Did you ever notice that?
Yeah.
And I just...
the old storyteller. That's what
yeah.
Man, he could tell, write songs, tell stories.
Too. That's up. I love those...
I like that. Me and Jesus got our own thing.
Yeah, he has a ton of great songs.
He did.
But Charlie Sizemore, do y'all remember Charlie Sizemore?
Mm-hmm.
He sang with Ralph Stanley. He actually came, if I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong, but he was after Keith Whitley. And but Charlie, he's a lawyer. He's in law school now. But he had a really good rendition of That's How I Got to Memphis.
He's good, yeah.
Yeah, he's really good. He's up in Kentucky now.
Harper Valley PTA went pretty good.
Oh, man. That crossed over, and not only in country, but that crossed over to what we call the pop charts. Now, I think it was the Hot 100 back then. I can't remember, but that was a big, big song.
Well, David's a big hit right now with my folks up at New Beverly Baptist Church.
Okay.
They said, we've never come to church and got to hear Harper Valley PTA.
There you go.
We should have done...
I told them.
We should have done that other one that she does. I said, do your big one, and I guess she thought that was it. What is it? She does, I'm a coal miner daughter.
Coal miner daughter. Well, David asked me before that. It was a great service.
They like it, though.
It's great.
Got a big hand on it.
Oh, it's great. But he said, do you want me to have them do all gospel or do a regular show? And I said, you're in New Beverly. You're doing your regular show, brother.
You know where you was batting off, did you?
Well, my brother's a pastor. I knew
you get away with it.
They wasn't going to throw us out.
He was having fun. Your brother was.
No, he's still there.
First thing I done, she started Heartbreak 50. I looked at him, and he's grinning from ear to ear. He's looking at him, and he's talking, I tell you.
Oh, he's funny.
Nobody left, so I guess.
We had a great time.
Nobody leaves, you're good.
Had a lot of compliments, and people enjoyed that.
So. It's some show, and
we had a fun time.
I had them do one song apiece.
They done a great job. It worked out great. And
what we had 3 girl singers.
Yeah, you had
Mandy and
Crystal and
Tara.
Tara. Yeah. And
3 girls singers. Well, we had a band.
Kenny came over, played drum, and Ken and Dale.
He kicked the show off with, what was that thing he kicked off? Fraulein. He kicked the show off with Fraulein. He said, don't I need to do a gospel? I said, no, he said, do the same show we've been doing.
Then we had an up-and-comer got up. You got him out of the audience, an up-and-comer. Jeffers, I think's his last name.
Yeah, Russell Stover.
As I referred to him, Becky's husband.
I named him Russell Stover. He called me David from the WYSH show. I say, who are you, Russell Stover? He said, what's that? I said, it's Miss Candy out there, I reckon. Yeah. I'll just keep it. Russell Stover.
Yeah, it was good. We had a great time. Looking forward to something else we'll do.
Well, he's a good one. I'll tell you what. 2 people can entertain me. It's Russ and Becky and the Parrot Boys. I can sit and watch them. They just good.
Yep, they are.
I mean, you don't have to have a bunch. Just them. Hey, Dennis Bottom called me, the banjo picker for us.
Yeah.
And when he had Dennis and that girl playing fiddle.
Yeah, she's really good.
Man, I told Dennis, I said, I pick shows with him, but I never did fit him. I didn't feel like as good as Dennis did. Dennis just fit him.
They play over, I think they played together the last couple of years over at the Wilson County Fair. It's a really big fair.
Yeah.
But they works out next year. I want to go over, just surprise them and go over and see them. They've got a, yeah.
Where's it
at? There in Mount Juliet, Wilson County.
I might go see it.
It's only 2 hours away.
Yeah.
But we ought to go over and just surprise him. That's what he did to me this year at the Tennessee Valley Fair that Saturday. He just, I looked out in the audience and there he was. And I was like, stop the whole show. I said, come here.
Man, Wes.
Is that where Charles Daniels Ranch was?
It is, where he lived. Yeah, I had his brother that lived there. That he passed away in 2003. But we was over there one day, and he tried to show me where Charlie's place was at. But he also was sitting. I went and stopped at a Taco Bell, and he said, "I'll tell you what was funny. One day we were sitting down there eating, and Jody Messina walked in, and I think she's just a doll, and does a great job. But the country singer, she's really good." But he said she had on a pair of sweatpants and, just in there just like regular folk and sitting there eating at the Taco Bell.
They got to eat, too.
Yeah. She's really good. She's on this Christian singer I really like. He was a former, pretty rough. Ben Fuller's his name. He's really good. And she sings on one of his songs with him. And he's got some really good stuff. He's got one. If you've got Jesus is the name of it, but she's on a couple of it. I think one of his songs. But I've always liked her voice. It's very distinct.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we can't have dead air.
We can't have dead air. I'll tell you about Dennis. He's he told me where he was at. I believe he's in Missouri. He bought him a little farm. He's got married again.
Really?
His high school sweetheart, he said. Said he's doing real good, and he said, I'll be coming through by Knoxville. A lot of people don't know who he is. He works at Jerry Reed and a lot of that Eastbound and Down.
He played the banjo on it.
Oh, good banjo player. He one showed me Eastbound and Down.
Well, I've got a video of it. We was over one day and we had
us doing it?
No, you and Dennis.
Oh.
But he knows Dean real well, doesn't he? Does Dennis know Dean Dillon pretty well?
Yeah,
because they're both from Lake City.
I don't know Dennis.
Oh, Dennis is
he's a banjo player for Jerry Reed.
I know of him, but I don't know.
He's the one that told the story. We was over at Ciderville that day, and so I was picking his brain on it. He's telling the story about when he was with Jerry Reed at the time, and Elvis had him come over to Graceland, and they went down to the Jungle Room. And I said, he's picking. I said, you got to go to the Jungle Room? He said, yeah. And I'm like, yeah, I'll be telling everybody that. I'm a name dropper, buddy. I ain't nobody, but I'll tell everybody. I hang out with Harold and David and Ron. But he said, yeah, because apparently Elvis had, he just went overboard with wanting Jerry Reed to play.
Jerry Reed was one of the best guitar pickers out there. I mean, he could play guitar like crazy.
He's my first celebrity I've ever got to meet. I met him in the mid-'70s over in Nashville with Daddy. He was at a chief police convention, and I've got a picture. He got his arm around me and my brother, just big old, and him and Claude Akins. You remember Claude
Akins,
Westerns and moving on. But Claude was okay. I want to tell you, Jerry was so perfect. Yeah, come over here, boys. He just grabbed you, and he just like he was on.
Big D and Bubba, we used to have them over on Merle, and they told me that one time they did a concert, a show, they were hosting it, that Jerry was at, and he had such severe anxiety about going out. He said his wife had to talk him down like for 5 minutes just to get him where he could function. But they said that when he hit the stage, it like turning on a light. But they said
he's always wound up like a clock, but he just...
They went burnt together on some of those interviews. If you've ever watched them, they're funny because
he seemed naturally funny, didn't he? He just seemed like
he was just a lot like Fred, wasn't he? Fred Smith.
My gosh.
Fred's just natural.
Burt Reynolds was funny too, but he had that dry sense of humor. He could just kind of look at you and say it was funny.
One of the guys on this, every once in a while they'll call if they don't have a guest or something. I'll go over to one of the Christian stations over in Knoxville. So they had me on this morning. So this guy that was in there, he's got a gray mustache and still got a beautiful head of hair, and I hate him. But I was standing there talking to him. I said, you know who you look like? Cesar Romero. He said, let me tell you a story. He said, I shouldn't tell this
The Joker.
story.
And what Cesar Romero, the Joker, yeah.
And he's a good-looking man. And he said, let me tell you a story. He said, years ago, he said, I pray that God will forgive me for this. But he says, I was sitting in a restaurant, and this lady come over to me, and she goes, can I ask you a question? He said, certainly. She goes, are you Burt Reynolds? And he goes, yes, ma'am, I am. and she had him sign something. And he said, we took our picture together. He said, it made her day. He's a little elderly lady. He said, it made her day. And I got to thinking, Lord, please forgive me for that. But I said, yeah, I've always wanted to look like Don Johnson, but I got Don Knotts look. So. Yeah, I told him, I said, you got older, you look like Cesar Romero.
I was showing this guy here a while back. He was touching this line there, pen. Said, are you David Wessler? So I owe you some money or something. That's the best way I can get out.
Yeah, you have to, if you owe them or they owe you. I always want to know that they owe me money.
Mr. Walker, what he done to get attention to him, he said when he bought his first grocery store, he looked on the credit book, and there's a whole load of credit people hadn't paid. And they said that he just called them up and said, come on in. Said, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I took over the supermarket, said, it's your lucky day. I'm going to give you, just your books is clear. He said, come on to Caswalkers. He said, I'm running a different system over here now. Said, I done cleaned all these books. I got your old books. And you don't owe nothing because they won't come to owe you. Said.
Yeah.
He said, that worked so good. He said, I just got in the phone book and started calling everybody. He said, I call him up and say, this is Caswalker at the supermarket over here. Said, I was looking on the books and it's got down you owe $10. I don't owe no $10. He said, don't worry about it. If you did, I was going to give it to you. He said, just call it off. I want you to come over here and trade with us.
Oh, my gosh. That's a good way of doing it. I'm going to do that in my insurance business.
There you go.
Okay.
And if you're listening, we're going to do that. I'm going to go back by the office. We're just going to get the phone book. Do they make phone books anymore?
No, not that I know of.
I started to say, I wonder if they even make Yellow Pages or the phone.
I looked down the other day. I used them I got one of them great big ones that I set my computers on years ago. I bet it's laid in this floor for 30 years. I don't know how old it is.
I'm going to tell you, the advertising used to, if you're a certain business, Yellow Pages and the phone book is where, big sales. That's where everybody look. Not anymore. Because
They went from this.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's...
That ain't nothing.
I've never.
The real Yellow Pages.
I can't remember seeing a phone book.
Social media.
Last time that one in the floor was on one I remember.
I can't remember when I had a phone book.
It was a while back, wasn't it?
But they, social media and all that stuff, what they have nowadays, you don't, like newsprint, newspaper sales are slim to none. What year? Yeah, there's the dust off of it.
1996.
Oh, my gosh.
There you go. 96, I might have had an ad in that.
You might have.
I had one, and I've been trying to find it. They put, in my ad, it put B.B. King in it, says, and put his picture in there. And I said, can we use that? Because it's Gibson guitar.
So like a Lucille replica?
Yeah, Lucille, but they put his picture in with it.
Oh, wow.
And I don't know what I've done if those phone books had his picture in, but threw them all away, I guess. But I was hunting one.
That's been on the floor since '96.
That's funny.
And I use it to keep my computers up off the ground. That's what
You're almost as bad as me. I've got some. I told you about the books I've got with Buford Pusser's picture in it. My daddy had all the sheriffs of Tennessee from like in the 60s. For each year they'd publish one with. So I've got one I'm going to give J.J. Jones, the sheriff from Knox County. And but yeah, I've got all of. I can't bring myself to throw that stuff away.
Yeah.
I don't mind throw it away. I've often regretted when I do, but
I'll tell you something.
I didn't even realize it was in the floor till just a few minutes ago.
I took a TV to the dump the other day that actually worked, a 42-inch TV I've had for about 15 years. And it won't use HDMI or USB plugs anymore. Mm-hmm. And my wife said, we're just having to move around this. And so I got to the dump, and I was fixed to unload it, and I was like, man, I don't know. And it's like the guy said, are you going to dump it, or what are you doing there? And I go, I don't know, just give me just a minute.
had to part ways with it, huh?
It actually works.
Yeah. But, it's hard.
Yeah.
I had to pay a guy to haul my had a big old Hitachi, big old TV.
Projection TV.
Yeah, big old thing.
I had one.
55-inch. Nobody wouldn't take it.
No, you can't give them away.
You couldn't donate it to nobody.
You can't
I
donate
found it
it.
hard. This guy said, "Well, you charged me all this off." He said, "$100." I said, "Take it. Get it out of here."
I had one, and it went bad, and I replaced it, and I got the big one in the garage. And the same thing. I tried to give it away. I couldn't throw it away, you know. Finally, I got somebody to haul it off for me. Same thing. I had to pay somebody to come and get it.
Well, TVs nowadays are cheaper than they were in the 60s.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah. And they weigh a fraction.
I'd carry you one under each arm.
They're so
I've
thin.
done
I mean,
it.
it's amazing the technology on them things.
Yeah, I just bought one a few weeks ago down there in Oak Ridge. That I can't think of the name of that place, but it $159 for a 40-inch.
Well, that little 32-inch that I use for my monitor at our shows, for our scripts and our lines, I gave $199 for it. It's a 32-inch HD. Oh, my goodness.
They dropped a lot.
Lord, yeah.
40 inches down there for 100. They had 32 inches for $149.
Walmart was advertising a 55-inch for $149.
You said there's a 40, and I said, how
crazy.
much? You said $10 more, you get 40. I said, give me 40.
Yeah.
$159.
Well, they're disposable nowadays. You know, the
That's
days
exactly
of a
what it
TV
is.
repair place. There used to be a guy that was over on Broadway. I can't think of the name of it. A TV repair place over in Knoxville. And a couple of years ago, I had one that was something was wrong with it. I took it down there, and as soon as I brought it in, he says, "I'll be honest with you," he said, "you just buy you a new one cheaper than fixing it."
Yeah.
Well, I was standing there, and he goes, "You got this, Barney?" And so it's funny. So we started talking about some things there, but I asked him about that TV repair business. He says, you can't fix them nowadays. He said, I forget what he called it. It's not like the old tube stuff, obviously, but something in them. He says,
They just got so many hours on them.
they're almost disposable, in other words.
Yeah, like mine, it had a big board in it.
Yeah,
You
the
know,
board goes
so,
bad. That's
yeah.
what it was. The board.
They just go out like that. It's like a Western Star.
Yeah.
You just throw them in the dump, you go get you another. It's a disposable thing.
Yeah. Well, that's the way appliances is and everything anymore. About 10 years, just if it goes out, just go buy you another and throw it away.
Yeah.
The technology, like in these phones, these so-called smartphones. Now, I've got an older one. Mine's a 7. I think they're up to 16 now on iPhones. I've still got a 7, so it's an older one. I wished I had the flip phone. But I started to say, they say that
for a little bit.
there's more technology in these phones than what sent them to the moon back
There's
then.
more technology in the iPhone 1 than they had on the first Apollo mission.
Isn't that crazy?
Mm-hmm.
Here's Lori Tucker just texted us. Our story that I filmed with her last week is going to be on the air tonight at 6 o'clock on Channel 6.
What'd you do a story with Lori about?
It was about helps with insurance as far as prescription medicines. I think I told y'all last week, people that pays high dollar that can't afford medicines.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, turn in to Channel 6 tonight at 6.
Well, there you go.
So it's a real big help for what we do with people with Medicare or even just high dollar medicines, being able to get some help. So hopefully it turned out good. She didn't have a good person to be there on the screen with her. So TVs. Now let's go to radios.
What's that guy? I was going to ask you where that guy. How did he keep his TV shop going?
Well, I didn't finish. So I go. That was about 1.5 years, 2 years ago. So I go by there about 6 months ago. It's closed. It's out of business.
Like a barber shop in the 70s.
Well, and they ran a thing in the Fountain City Focus and talked about people coming by to visit him and stuff. And he said, "Well, I had a guy come by that does Barney." There was a little article. Steve Hundley, that Con's brother, Steve
Run
Hundley,
the paper out there.
Steve,
and
he's a good guy.
But he shut it down. They couldn't make no money. I mean, how do you make any money fixing something that don't need fixed?
You know, when I grew up, go to barber college. So L.E. White was an instructor over there. See, I didn't have to go. I just sat down and learned how. And we had a barber shop over there, and the guy was out most of the time, so I just go in and cut hair. I had midday.
So you cut your hair? You cut people's hair?
Yeah, for a long time. It was a grade A barber shop. I built it for him. Put this guy in there, and I still got the old sink out of it up at my house, and the old pedestal sink, old big made of iron, pig iron.
Yeah.
And they'd say, he wanted off, I think, on Thursday, and he said, "You just go in there and cut hair. You cut hair real good." And I said, "Well, I'll do it." I go in and cut on Thursday. Had me a haircutting day, and I just walked in. Oh, I had all I could get. I had about 40 people come to get haircuts.
I would be
I've done a
terrible
lot
at
of
cutting
things.
hairs.
I'll tell you, I
cut
this-
my own hair. I've cut my own hair for 15 years.
Do you use scissors or shears?
Both.
Well, my wife cuts mine now, and it's a number 2 on the shears. It just goes like that. That's it. I said, I'm tired of trying to fake it. I wear a hat when I do, Barney. I'm good. Just get rid of it.
Yeah, I told you about time. I think I told this barn. I told some of these stories over and over, but yeah, I saw it in a newspaper one day. It said we got a barber outfit, a whole kit, all them number 1s and 2s and all that stuff. Back in there's getting burras, they call them, and flat tops.
Oh yeah.
And $9.95, you get all them attachments with it. And so I told Faye, that's way back. I was just a young boy then, teenager. I said, get me one of them. She got me one of them, and I said, well, I still got the old white stool. You know, you sit on an old white stool, and Faye made me a white thing cut out. It's still over in my garage. When he cut out, put it around her neck.
Oh, yeah.
Faye's always like a mother to me. She just always fixed me up. And she's about 13, 14 years older than I was. I got that clippers and all that stuff, and I thought, well, I'm going to learn how to cut hair. This boy was walking down the street, and his hair was way down. I said, hey, buddy, you on a haircut? You ain't got no money. And I said, come in here a minute. I'll cut it for you. So I started out and done him a trim. And I said, that looks pretty good. He just sat there like that. Done him a trim. And then so Drake, I went on up a little further. And Drake, I thought I'll try my luck on a flat top. I went down hit his head, and I had waves all over the place. Look like a line right now. Big talk, it was everywhere. And I said, just a minute, let me put on number 2. I gave him the number 2 deal. He said, that feels better. He took off down the road, and I didn't charge him.
I went in and tried to get a high and tight. You know what a high and tight is?
Yeah.
So I said, well, I don't think we can do a high and tight on you anymore. We can do a low and loosey.
Hey, Don Bell said he went in to get a haircut and said when he did, he said, now, I ain't got much to cut. And they said, we charge just as much to look for as we do cutting it.
Yeah, I've got to where I sit down in the chair to go to a barbershop, and they sit down, what do you want us to do?
Fred used to say, give me an estimate.
Fred Smith walked into work, he had long string hair, and he walked right in this big place. Me and him was on Kingston Pike, one of them, big beauty shop places. He walked in, was on TV then. He said, would somebody in here give me an estimate on a haircut?
My mother used to cut our hair. My dad's and us 3 boys. She used them old hand clippers like this and scissors. And, of course, we started seeing people getting flat top haircuts. We wanted flat, she said, I ain't gonna attempt no flat hair. You go to the barber shop and get a flat top haircut.
Yeah.
I ain't
hard to
graduated to that yet.
You get one sided boy.
Well, them things, them old hand clippers, you try to rush them, they pull your hair out.
Oh, yeah, I got a pair of them.
Yeah.
Just have to move your head.
If you don't go slow, you just jerk hairs everywhere.
You pull you sit there, move around, and you take that come picking head with it. Sit still, you want this haircut.
I remember way back when I was a kid, and they'd go in there, Sky, to cut her hair. And he was cutting my daddy's hair, and he said, you want me to cut them monkey burns off or leave them on there? They take them all off. It's funny what it they did things.
Mama put us out on the porch. We go on the front porch and line
Oh,
up.
yeah.
And she'd take them shears, and it wasn't no little bit here or there. And burned to us. I remember when I got to let my hair touch my ears for the first time, I thought, man, I'm just a regular hippie now.
He was best Carlock Stooksbury, wasn't he? He said, you come from a big family? He said, yeah, I come from a big family. So we all had piled up, share the bed together, and us boys, 3 or 4 in the same bed. He said, I never slept alone till I got married.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. I know where he's come from.
Been there, done that, ain't you?
I did. There's 9 of us in a little 4-room house for a while. No indoor running water now, so yeah. We was late getting to the stage of indoor plumbing where I was from.
I brought that heater over here one time that Daddy had. put it in a tub. You couldn't touch the water now and plug it up and shock you, I guess. I used to say, don't put your hand in there. Of course, we knew Daddy said something.
I remember when you showed that to me, I'm thinking, how did they not get electrocuted?
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
I guess you unplugged it first.
That was the other thing I took to the dump the other day. I took one of those radiator heaters that has like oil in it.
Mm-hmm.
I've had it for 10, 15 years, and I keep it in my garage. And the plug was looking a little bit frail, and my wife said, I think she'd get rid of me if she thought she'd get away with it, take it to the dump. But she said, no, let's just get a new one. I was up there fixing to unload it, and I told that guy, I said, hey, this still works. He goes, I just said it over. We can't have it, just said it over. People bring stuff all the time, still works.
Yeah.
That little thing, the plugs on them, they're a fire hazard if you ain't careful. So
That's where the oil gets hot in it.
It does, and it works great if you've got a garage or something. Just make sure you got nothing up close to it. But it does a great job. It's just a little. It ain't 2 foot wide and maybe about 8 inches wide. It's a radiator. They call it a radiator heater with oil in it. DiGiorno or some kind of DeGorny or something is the brand on it. But it worked really good. I'm gonna have to go get me another one.
It works on about the same principle as your old steam radiators.
Yeah.
In schools and stuff, Of course, Oak Ridge, when I worked there, and they may change now, but that's what the whole plant was heated with steam, because we had our own steam plant there. And,
We had those at where I went to school up here at Glen Alpine in the north. So what happened, we get in the bathroom, us boys get in there and wet them paper towels and then drape it over in pipes and watch them how quickly they dry out. We did some stupid stuff.
Yeah, I remember that silver collection had 8 rooms. We had 4 downstairs and 4 upstairs in the lunchroom.
Yeah.
So you got through the 8th grade over upstairs.
That's what Glen Alpine was. We used to have 1st through 8th grade. And I went to, I didn't go to kindergarten. They had Andersonville Head Starts where I went. And then I went to Glen Alpine for 1st and 2nd grade. And then they changed it to.
And they built, while I was there, they built a new part on the school. I got to do 3rd and 4th, I believe, down in the new part.
Yeah.
Then I had to go back upstairs for
Claxton was kind of upscale compared to Glen Alpine, I think. You was the rich kids.
I went to Chilhowie.
Where? Chilhowie?
Chilhowie, yeah.
It's right down from my house. I know
we
exactly.
Walked all 8 years to school and home.
You're talking
never
about
had a school bus till I started high school at Central.
Are you talking about Chilhowie down from Holston?
Yeah.
I know exactly where. That's where my kids went to school. In fact, when I was at the sheriff's office, I arrested a guy out of there one day. Yeah. But
what did people say when you walked up? You'd been Barney on TV and everything so much you walked into uniform.
Yeah.
What did they say to you?
It wasn't good. Most of them go like,
you got more than one bullet?
Yeah, that's Barney. I told you the funniest one I ever had was that one, and my buddies I run with. You was talking about the marshals earlier. I'll tell you something about that in a minute. But we was at up off Rutledge Pike over in Knoxville, and there's 5 of us, and had 2 inside clearing the house looking for this guy, and I brought 2 out there sitting on the porch, and they sitting there, and it looked like something out of Jerry Springer, and I was standing there with one of the officers, and that old boy looked up at us, and he goes, "Hey, you got does Barney?" And he said, "You was out at my mama's church here a while back." And my officer with me, he said some very unpleasant stuff to him and told him to shut up. He said, "He ain't doing Barney right now, so shut up." I couldn't get no respect. No.
But there wasn't no such thing as snow days.
Snow days? What's that?
We walked there, like I say, all 8 years.
Mm-hmm. Tell us about the marshal.
Oh, the marshals, we ran with the marshals, I was attached to the U.S. Marshals. What was you talking about, Wyatt Earp and stuff with the marshals? So, a couple of the marshals, when I first got attached to them, we were looking for fugitives and violent offenders. And two of them was kind of skeptical, and they go, I heard them whispering to them other officers, "Hey, that's the guy that does Barney." I mean, we're the U.S. Marshals. And I went like, "Don't worry about it, boys. I got you right. I'll be right there for you in case the evening begins to last."
Just my baby and me.
Just me and my baby right there. Yeah. Yeah. No,
Oh, goodness.
You know, my brother used to build, younger brother, he's young now, but he used to build go-kart motors.
Oh yeah, that's
So
but
he
that's
was-
the guy you were talking about, the go-kart. That's the officer I was telling you about that told that guy to shut up. Reese, yeah, Shannon
Yeah.
Reese.
See, he was hooked up to a guy in Alabama. His son raced go-karts.
Okay.
Somehow now he got hooked up. He was a narc agent.
Mhm.
And he told Scotty, he said, "I've had P3, P7 stuck in my mouth, everything else, you know, and druggies and stuff." He
Yeah,
said,
that test you, man.
"Oh, man, you ought to seen that dude. You talking about rough looking. He looked like
Yeah.
he come out of the dump or something, but that's..."
Yeah, I had one that I'll tell you. We had an officer that I worked with in the early '80s at Star Sales that went to KPD, worked for KPD, and he became a narc agent. And this is one of the most cleanest cut guys you'd ever want to see. I mean, he would probably write his mom a ticket. He was so by the book. If he pulled his mom over, he'd probably write her a ticket. But he was so clean cut and good guy. And so I run into him one day, and I see him out, and he's got straggly old hair, hadn't shaved, ragged old clothes. And he couldn't say anything to me at the time. I said, his name was Gary, and I said, "Hey, Gary." And he goes, like that, and he kind of told me, you know, don't. And so later on, I was talking to him. He said, "Man, I was undercover and that stuff there." He said, I hated not to be able to. I said, "You're doing undercover work?" I said, "That's really dangerous like that." And he goes, "Oh, yeah." He said, "I love it." I went, "Well,
Yeah, he
I love it."
told Scotty, he said, "Man," said, "I've been
Oh, yeah.
that close to death." He said,
They want to make sure you ain't a cop.
"Oh, yeah,
And
yeah.
I
If
told
you are, well, you're run
JJ.
out fast."
We need to have JJ back in here. He did narcotics, and he's got some great stories. Some are he's talked to me and David and Howard about, but I don't know if we can tell them on the air. But one of his buddies was working undercover, and I can tell this story. This is okay. But he said he was working undercover one time. It's probably in the 80s, and they were doing a prostitution ring, and so he was in there, and little Asian girl they were in there, and there were some certain things they would say, the code word for them to come in to make the arrest. And this little girl had him down to his T-shirt, and she saw the wire. She could see the wire a little bit. And she says, "Are you a policeman?" Like that. And he goes, "Yes, ma'am, I am." He goes, and she goes, "Well, policemen need loving too." And so obviously they had to arrest her. But the best one was they were undercover, talking about narcotics and undercover work. JJ would have to tell his story. They had a young officer that he was kind of feminine looking, good look. I guess he's cute looking, and so they put little biker shorts on him, and they had a real bad trouble. And I better not say the park over there in Knoxville, but it was really bad for homosexuals, and they would pick up little boys and things like that. So he was over there and had these little pink short shorts on and all this stuff, and they had him made up, and of course he was wired, and the code word was, "That sounds about right." He would make a proposition, and and when he said that sounds about right, they were to bust in and grab his guy. So I had this guy, and I forget the officer's name. I shouldn't say it anyway, but he was in there, and the guy come up and propositioned him, and he goes, "That sounds about right." And JJ was over the undercover people, and he goes, "That sounds about right." JJ said, "Hold on just a minute, hold on." He said, "That sounds about right." And JJ kept telling officer, "Hold on just a minute." And he did that about 4 or 5 times. And he said, "Okay, let's go." And when they finally got it, that guy that was undercover, he said, "I'm going to kill you next time you do that." He said, "I was yelling. That's about right." That was the code word for them to come bust.
I bet he's got more stories than we have time to hear.
We'll have him over.
We ought to.
He's on another hunting trip right now, but I'll tell you, he's got some great stories, doesn't he,
Oh, he's
David?
been there a long time.
Him and your buddy, Reed.
Yeah.
What's his name? Reed. the one you know real well. Is it Reed?
I don't know what he did.
The officer that you said, he would.
Oh no, that's
not Reed.
No, let me think what his name was now.
I was thinking Reed.
David
Riggs.
Riggs.
David Riggs.
Riggs, yeah.
But they've got some great stories.
Bad. I worked with him.
They have some great stories. That's a tough line to be in. And
he was just bad. I mean, he was rough, and he was big, 350 pounds. He was big enough to be rough.
Yeah.
He was really.
I don't envy any of those. It's a tough job to have.
You take me to ride with him, I'm afraid of him myself.
Yeah. That job you was talking about, that guy earlier, about the one said he did a one-man job.
Mm-hmm.
When I was with the Marshals, we had to have at least 5 of us. And I was always the guy that would say, "I'll be right behind you."
I'm here if you need me.
Yeah, when each stage to kick in the door, you had the breacher. He would breach the door and step out of the way, and then the two would go in and you separate. I was always the one, "I'll get you boys back. Pick up anything we leave."
It's like my nephew down there was selling tickets down in I read that big place down with them festivals, Crab Orchard.
Yeah.
There's some rough people down there. No, they just, it's rough, and somebody stuck a gun on him and held up the cash box out there. And he told me, and that guy was in prayers, and he said, "And you give him the cash box?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "I thought you belonged to the Bandanas, a big gang." He said, "I am, but we're not the fighters, we're the lovers."
Well, you had Chef Barker in here yesterday.
Yeah.
So I've got a great story, and if he was listening, I would tell it. But I'll wait and let him be here sometime and tell this story. When he was attached with the 5th Judicial, was attached with
Drug Task Force?
I was with the Smoky Mountain Fugitive Task Force.
Mm-hmm.
And so first time I ever met Russell, we were hitting a house in Oak Ridge. This guy, he didn't want to go back to prison, but I've told this story a bunch of times, and it's true. And every time I tell it, I say, "Well, you tell the sheriff in Anderson County that I told you this story." And
he's probably listening.
Well, if he's listening, you know the story, Russell. I'm not going to tell it then. But every time I tell somebody to tell it, they'll come back to me and say, "I told him that story." And he said, "You've seen Sammy Sawyer, ain't you?"
You like my story? This every time David tells one, he adds a little more. I said, "Yeah, I remembered, boy."
Well, Daddy,
remember a little more as you go.
Daddy used to tell me, he said, just a little while before he died, he said, "Man, you tell them stories." He said, "I think you're getting to where you're almost believing some of them." I told some stories about him, and he was going through a rough time, and he didn't remember them. And I said, "You did this." And he goes, "I don't think I did." I said, "I think you did. I was there." Some of them was not good. That he didn't. He, bless his heart, he was in a bad way. But still miss my daddy. 24 years. And I know yours.
He was a trading time loyalist.
He loved calling you in trading time, man. But I've told you it.
I've told you before we went out there. Wendell bought a Toyota truck from him. There wasn't a bottom in it.
I'll tell you, he'd only dealt in junk.
Mm-hmm.
And see, when my daddy died, the difference between probably you all was this: people would fight over what they's going to get his. We fought over who's going to have to clean up that junk. No, it was he would go to the stockyard. I remember Thursdays we'd go to South Clinton to the stockyard. That's right, wasn't it? Thursdays.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So we'd go to the stockyard, and my daddy wouldn't bid or try to buy something that's really pristine. He always bought the maimed or something defective animal, and this is the truth. He'd come hauling in, and it was nothing for him to show up. His last few years, he drove a little Citation. You remember those little Citation? He had a hatchback.
Chevy Citation.
Well, he had goats in the back of that one time come home. But he had a little horse, Nellie. Nellie had been abused. She had big old knots on her back and stuff. We brought her home, and he babied that horse forever. He brought a Tennessee walking horse. My brother Doug can tell his story sometime and correct me on it, but he bought the horse from somebody. I think they lived over in Norris, and we lived over in the Peach Orchard community, and the horse was so frayed, and he would not get in a horse trailer. Daddy's horse trailer. He would not get in it. So my brother Doug led that horse and followed Daddy and the truck and trailer all the way to our house. Well, this horse it was a Tennessee walking horse, but he had an overbite, real bad overbite. And so one of my chores, I'd go feed and stuff like that. And so I would go down to feed him, and he had a salt block out there, and I was just going to lean over and kind of adjust that salt block. And Ebony was his name. He bit me on the back, and he had an overbite. He kind of scraped and bit. If you ever been horse bit, oh, it's painful. Ain't it? You ever been horse bit?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Leg.
They hurt. But bless his heart, I felt sorry for him at the same time because I knocked his nose. But Daddy would always buy these defective animals, and I guess he just loved trying to care for something nobody else wanted. I always thought a lot of that about the way he was. He loved it.
What did he do with them? Just care for them till they were gone?
We had cattle, we had pigs, we had chickens, we had goats, and he never took anything to the slaughter that I know of. He would trade them every once in a while, but Daddy just made pets. Yeah, he had such a good heart. He did. He loved animals. My daddy I've heard him go down there, and his voice would change. You know how people talk to pets? He'd be talking to you like we're talking right now, and be kind of stern or whatever. Horses, Daddy could come down there and say 2 or 3 words at the fence at the bottom of the field, and horses or whatever. But they come running up there. He just loved on them. My dad had such a good heart. He was a one of a kind man.
You never drink milk or eat chickens or nothing like that?
We didn't. We never had eggs that I remember. We had goats. I remember the pig story was this. We had an old barn down there. If you went up to my house, it wasn't much, and that old barn probably fell, but I went down there and I'd play basketball. I'd put me a ball go up on the barn side, and I'd go down there every day. I'd get off the school bus. I'd run up there and get me off a back porch. I'd grab an old ball and run down there and try to play basketball. I was probably not as good as John David, but I was playing. And I would, so one day I go down there and I get off the bus. I get right down there and I get to the fence line. I look over and there's a pig pen in front of my ball go area. Daddy's up in the loft, and he hollered down and said, "I don't guess you'll be shooting no ball today, will you?" and I thought, "Oh, why did you do that?" And what he had done, he went and got me 2 4x4s and made me a real nice basketball goal and put it up there closer to the house. And, so he fixed me up. But he's one of a kind, man.
I just remember that truck. I don't remember how much it cost. I don't remember anything, but I drove Wendell out there because he was going to drive it back.
You couldn't drive it. He had so much junk.
Yeah, you could see the road.
Yeah.
Oh, about that big. And Wendell bought it.
I've seen Daddy. I've seen him bring in some junk that. Yeah, I better not.
That's Bass Creek. Dividing the junk. Bass Creek. Daniel said that, these thieves goes around stealing and everything. He said that when they broke into Red Rector's house while he was going to play music, and said, when he come back home, he saw where they broke in and left him $20.
You can ask my brother Ed, pastors over there. He's talking about looking out and seeing when we was singing Harper. My pastors at New Beverly, but he was one of them. He took a bulldozer and backhoe down there and buried a lot of stuff instead of us trying to haul off stuff.
I've burned a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
I just got to the point. It's like, we'll take it and we'll donate it. Well, you know where it ends up? It ends up in the garage in piles. And then you move the piles around.
Yeah.
The other night, Tracy and I said, you know what? You tell them if they don't pick it up, I'm going to burn it. I took about 4 big bags out in the backyard and lit them on fire.
I've got a message I've been doing on what happens to our stuff when we die. I told you about it there, but it's they'll discover it, they'll discard it, they'll divide it, and I think it was discard the D's on it. But that's what happens to your stuff when. So we're trying to purge. We got rid of a lot of stuff. I told you about my heater and
your heater and your TV's gone.
I took another load, so we're getting rid and giving stuff away.
David and I had a friend that David going to get in the cattle business, and he go look at a big nice cow or something, and you want to buy it. So I said, no. I said, you buy the poorest, those skinniest old cow you can find, then you take it home, you fatten it up. And then you sell it and make money and get a calf off of it.
Yeah.
And So he told David had to buy cattle.
Well, but Daddy just fed them. He didn't make money off of them. Daddy, he's like me. I can't make money doing that kind of stuff. I've never made money off of vehicles and buying and selling stuff.
Tracy wants a farm so bad she can't stand it. And I said, you'll want it till you get it. That's right. That is hard work.
One of my sons is the same way right now, and he's looking for property. He was up in Campbell County yesterday. He sent me a video, and I was like, honey, I mean, it's nice to think that, and everybody wants to be a cowboy and a farmer, till you're up at 3:30 and you're going.
The horse is sick, and you can't go nowhere. You can't go on vacation. You can't, you
got to hire people to do it. And right now, my daddy had a great saying. I'll leave the cussing part out and won't say a whole lot, but he said, you can't get nobody to do nothing.
Mm-hmm.
You can't right now.
I was talking about a horse, and they said, if you get one, just go ahead and plan and board it. Go down to Miller's or wherever, get you somebody to board it. Just take it as a toy. You know what I mean? That's the only way. Because I thought about getting one up here back in the 90s, because I've got enough room to have one. I thought about it.
I got a friend still. I think he still got maybe a couple. And, of course, him and his wife and kids used to ride them all the time. And said, we don't ride no more, so they just hay burners. So I buy hay for them, just feed them.
Mm-hmm. That's what Daddy did. Daddy just fed them, fattened them, and
well, that's what we're doing, these ponies and stuff. I mean, these
Jerusalem donkeys.
I was just thinking about what you said about that. See, I didn't know how to buy. He had a cattle truck to haul them in. He hauled them over, and I kept them things for 2 or 3 years. I don't know how many calves I sold off them, and cattle went sky high, and I sold them for 3 or 4 times what they had in the cows. I made money on horses too, and just as after I sold them, maybe 6 months later, the bottom fell out of it. I was always pretty lucky on stuff like that. But I remember one of them had a calf dinner, at Ciderville, the creek goes through there. Mm-hmm. She was up on that bank, and I went to her and said, she's had a calf. Couldn't find it, and went off in the creek. Mm-hmm. Water was up that night, and I was going out there hunting it, and it was washed up on the bank. And this guy said, call your insurance company. He said, if that's farm, you got farm insurance, they'll pay you for it. They get paid me for the calf.
I'm going to have to have
I didn't know they do that.
Yeah, I didn't either. He told me.
There you go.
I got a 12 o'clock appointment. It says it's going to take me 32 minutes to get there.
We'll wrap it up.
You better get going.
Yeah, all right. Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving, Sammy.
I guess we'll see you in 2 weeks.
We won't be here next week, will we?
No, sir, we won't be here.
I'll be eating ham and turkey. Love y'all.
See you, buddy.
Okay,
take care. Be careful.
Come back and see us next 2 weeks.
Yeah. Happy Thanksgiving, boys.
Let's just wrap her up. I'll tell you, we got to tell you about a few things going on.
All right.
Why don't you come over to Ciderville and look it all over? Anthony Lay is over there. He's got him a drum business over there. He's in with the guitars and stuff. I mean, they have stocked that place up. They've got Fender guitars, Gretsch guitars. They've got, it's just easy to go in there and see it. And the drums, I didn't know they made so many brands. I mean, they got some Pearl, they got Tama, they got, I don't know what some of the old 50s stuff, brand new. Looks like the old 50s, brand new stuff.
Wow.
But Premier, they've got, you just got to go see them. You ain't going to believe all that's in there. And they've got it full of guitars. They've got several Martins, and they got loads of Fenders. They got a nice Fender over, Ron. It's a hard shell case with an arch top. It's a good case. A Fender guitar, a nice Fender guitar for $199.
Cool.
Case and all. The case is worth $200.
Yeah.
They run the sales, so if anybody wants to go over and get them some Christmas stuff or put it layaway, now's the time to do it. And I don't know where he sold his car yesterday. I hadn't talked to him since we've been on air, but they got all kinds of things. They got bass. They got the best doghouse bass that I ever owned. They've got it over, and it's theirs. They brought it out and all that. But they got another thing. Doug does sound systems. You got anybody needs a big sound system? He does them any size. He done. I saw him do one in Dalton, Georgia. He must have been, I don't know, there's thousands, like 25,000 people or something. It's a big, huge thing, big auditorium. But he does them for little, big, all of them. And I think he's got some lighting maybe, but I know he does sound. He'll come out, put the sound up, and stay there and run it for you if you need it. They have church over on Sunday morning, and he has shows every so often over. You just have to look up and see the sign when he doesn't. He's sold out. Had put chairs up, the lights when he had.
That's good. Good.
Oh, had cars everywhere. And my cousin, we've got a camper. Doug can show it to you up there on the hill. He's wanting to sell, and he don't need it now. He got a divorce, and so if anybody likes to go over and look at it, just talk to Doug, and he'll take care of that.
There you go.
And we want everybody to have a good Thanksgiving. And we don't have Mr. Walker this year to throw turkeys off the roof, but we'll remember him. And whatever you do, come by and see us. If you need to talk to me, I'm sitting up on the porch sometimes. I'm still running about all the time. Yesterday all day. Between doctors and business, I'm there sometimes.
You're there sometimes.
So come by and holler at me. We really love. We hope this show cheers somebody up, makes them happy, and makes them. It's like Barney said, a merry heart does good like a medicine.
It does.
That church thing we did over, buddy, they lied, so I guess they had a merry heart.
That's what it's about, buddy.
But anyhow, till we get to see you again, may the good Lord bless you. And as Mr. Walker said, you be good to the Lord, and he'll be good to you.
Thank you for listening to AM 1380 WYSH and Ask Your Neighbor. Make sure you tune in at 10 a.m. each day, Monday through Friday, right here on AM 1380 WYSH and BBB TV 12. Or listen live online at